Okay, we're up to Chav Zayin Amid Aleph. We're discussing the Ma'amados. We're discussing that in the Beis Hamikdash. You had the Mishmar that was of the Kahanim. You had the Mishmar of Leviim and the Mishmar of Yisraelim who will be present and be the Shliach of Klal Yisrael b'shas the Hakravis of the Karbanis Sibor. In addition, the Mishmarim, the people who were not in the Beis Hamikdash, they went to their cities and they would go ahead and they would recite during the different days of the week. They would cite Parshas Bereshis, and we'll see that Be'ez Hashem this evening. And also they would fast. So let's go through the sugya of the Ma'amados. Now, the Ma'amados are, guys, it's a mitzvah. It's brought down in the Minchas Chinuch, Sefer Chinuch. It's mitzvah kuf tough kuf tes. That there's a mitzvah of Ma'amados, and exactly who that was by the Kahanim to make mishmarim the Kahanim. He says very interesting. The Svar of the mitzvah. If you wouldn't have mishmarim, let's say the Kahanim could do the avodah any time, because no one would do the avodah. Why? We say that a pot, right? You have too many cooks spoil the broth, right? At the Gemara, it's going to be the sound. Therefore, it's quite amazing that no, you think that they'd be fighting to do it. No, they know better. The Kohen would do it. So let's Chav Zayin Amid Aleph. We're a few lines down. And Elohim Ma'amados. Now these are the Ma'amados, and then you'd expect them to go ahead and list the Ma'amados. It says L'fi Shenemar Tzaves B'nei Yisrael Es Kavani Lach Mili Shai. It begins to quote the pasuk. Says the Gemara, my comma. What exactly did the Mishnah say? What did it mean? So Hachakama. Elohim Ma'amados. Umat Tam Tiknu Ma'amados. What's the reason they were attacking the Ma'amados? Again, these are the Israelim. L'fi Shenemar Tzaves B'nei Yisrael V'mat Aleim Es Kavani Lach Mili Shai. How is it possible that the carbon of a person, Karav, can be brought, and he's not standing by it? So the carbon Sibor is brought for Klal Yisrael. How could you not have a member? You can't have all Klal Yisrael standing there, right? So we of course gave shkolim to pay for this, and so we had a piece of the action. So it's Ginu Nevi'im Rishonim, who we said yesterday was David and Shmuel, or Shmuel and David. Esri Avar Mishmaros, 24 Mishmaros. We'll learn with the Ritva, 24 Yisraelim. I'll call Mishmar u'Mishmar Hayamayim b'Yushalayim Shel Kahanim b'Shel Levim b'Shel Yisraelim. And he gives man Mishmar Lalois, so Kahanim v'Levim v'Oilim b'Yushalayim. They go up. The Kahanim would go to Duchanam, Levim l'Shimel l'Zimram, and Yisrael to stand by the carbon b'shat is being bought. Again, we saw machlokes yesterday between the Ritva and Rashi. Like Rashi, if they were all together, there was a maimid of Kahanim, Leviim, Yisraelim, regardless of, it wasn't connected the Mishmar of Kahanim. It was a maimid of what? Not the Mishmar, a maimid of Kahanim. The Rambam and Rashi and the Ritva both seem to learn that what? That it's three separate entities. Tan Rabbanim. Esrim the Arba Mishmaris, but Eretz Yisrael. Ushnei Masu b'Yericho. There were 24 Mishmaris in Eretz Yisrael. And there were what? There were 12 in Yericho. Now, mashma, if there are 24 in Eretz Yisrael and 12 in Yericho, that would be a total of 36. That would be a total of 36. Shnai Mesri b'Yericho and the fish and Lutuva. Fred the Gemara, how can you tell me there's 12 in Yericho? Then you're going to have extra. You're going to have 36. Ella, what do you have to say? Shnai Mesri mehem b'Yericho. Of the 24, 12 were in Yericho. Higiyazman Mishma Lalois, when it came time for the Mishmar to go to work, Chatzia Mishma Haya Oila Meretz Yisrael Yerushalayim, the Chatzia Mishma Haya Oila Liyericha, they would go to Yericha, Kadesh Yaspiku Maim Umazain Lachem Sheb Yerushalayim. They would provide the food for the Mishmarim that were going up. So again, 24, 12 in Yericho, 12 outside. Amrav Yehuda Meshmuel, Kahanim Levim Yisraelim, Ma'akvines HaKarben. If you don't have Kahanim Levim Yisraelim, they ma'akv the carbon. Kahanim fashteitzach, you need Kahanim to do the avodah. Leviim to do the zero, the shimram, the zero, the shiro lezimram. The Yisraelim and the Yisraelim, that's the chiddush, guys. That's ma'akiv. In other words, if they weren't there, standing there, it's ma'akiv the carbon. B'mesnisan tana, Reb Shimon Elazar, Kahanim v'Leviim v'klishir ma'akvus the carbon. Not only Kahanim Leviim, but not Yisraelim, but klishir is ma'akiv the carbon. So according to the first Rabbi, according to Rabbi Yehuda and Shmuel Yisraelim are, according to Tana, the name of Shimon Elazar, it's what not Yisrael but Klishir. The Ma'ikimif. What's the first? Machlokes, we had this in Masech the Sukkah. You might remember by the Chalol, by Bengi, by the Space Shreiva. Masava Ika Shira Bepeh. Mandiyama Ika Shira Bepeh. That's Rabbi Yehuda name of Shmuel. That what the Ika Shira Bepeh, and therefore even if you don't have kli sharesh, the carbon's accepted because you don't need the instrument. Umasava and of Shimon Elazar is of the opinion ikashir bekli. The ikashir is with the oviv, with the flute. That and you need that in order to go ahead and have the avoided done correctly. Okay. So what do we see? So we know ma'amadais. Again, this just look at Rashi over here. Ma'akvois. Rashi says, "Ma'akvines hakarbon in ma'imid kulam b'Yushalayim." It'll be ma'akiv if all the ma'imodim are not there in Yerushalayim. In other words, if the kahanim aren't there, Leviim the Yisraelim are there. Shall kahanim Leviim be Yisraelim? Kivin the kula bailim, since they're all bailim, but you need them all there. They'll have kamahu al gabe avodah. So this Rashi is mashma again that the ma'imid consisted of kahanim Leviim Yisraelim, not like the ritva. Again, the ritva is the way we always learn. Kahanim was separate, Leviim was separate. Kahanim to do the avodah, Leviim l'shila zimram, and the Yisraelim to stand by the carbon. So this is the source for this Rashi, that it's ma'akiv. Rav Chama bar Guria says Rav Chama bar Guria back in the Gemara. Rav says Rav Chama bar Guria in the name of Rav. Moshe tikin lehem liYisrael. Moshe was metakin liYisrael. Shmoina mishmaros, 8 mishmarim. It's nice to have everybody back. Vaita.
Like the Club of America.
Amar Rav Chama bar Guria, Amar Rav. Moshe tikin lehem Yisrael. Shmoina mishmaros. Moshe was metakin Yisrael, 8 mishmaros. Again, we need a total of 24. Arba me'elazar, v'dalid me'samar. 4 of them came from Elazar, and 4 from Mesamar, total of 8. But Shmuel came along Shmuel, then midim al sheish esrei. Now this is speaking about, guys, this is speaking about the Kahanim. Mishmaros. These are speaking about the Kahanim. Now, came along what? Came along Shmuel, then midim al sheish esrei. He added another 8. But David came along David, then midu al esrim arba, and he put it at 24. So 8, 8, and 8. Again, this is names are important. Rav Chama bar Guria says, where do we get 24 mishmarim of kahanim? Now, guys, there's a mitzvah again. There's a mitzvah. There's a mitzvah to have mishmarim of kahanim. There's a mitzvah. The numbers it doesn't say, but it's a mishmar of kahanim because again, if you wouldn't have kahanim designated to work at a certain time, you'd have 2 cooks. No one would do anything. That's what the Sefer Mitzvah says. The time it gives the time mitzvahs. And so we have over here that we have Moshe making 8, Shmuel making 8, David making 8 for a total of 24. And that's who said it? Rav Chama bar Guria. This is the Araisa. The Araisa to have Mishmarim. The number is not the Araisa. The number, but the to have Kahanim set up is a mitzvah. There's a pasuk. There's quotes a pasuk in the Sefer Mitzvahs. It's an inference. It's an inference in the Sefer Mitzvahs. Again, if you're interested, it's tough kuf. That's 500. Yes, 509. Says the Gemara Vayta. Shenemar. He brings a pasuk for the 24. In Divrei Yavim it says, "V'shnasu aboyim l'malchus David nidrishu v'yimtzu behem gevulei hachoyel b'yazer gilad." Okay, so that somehow makes he added what another 8. Meisivei Moshe tikkun lehem liYisrael shmoina mishmaros. Moshe was metakin 8. Arba me'elazar, arba me'samar. That's the same as Rav Chama bar Guria. But David Shmuel v'amidim al esrei arba came David Shmuel. They made it 24. Shenemar heimo yisei David Shmuel haroy b'munasam. So what's the kasha? We thought that each one 8, 8, 8. Here it's mashma 8 by Moshe, and David in conjunction with Shmuel made it 16, not 8 and 8. They made 16 together. Says, so how do you reconcile this? Hachikamar. We're not going again and telling you the how the denomination came about. We just gave you the total denomination. How did it come about? 8 by Shmuel and 8 by David, but it's a total of 16. So it's not trying to say that David and Shmuel were metakin 16 together. They were metakin 16. How 8 and 8? So it's not shver. So right now we have 20. We have 24 and 8, 8 and 8. Fred the Gemara Kash. Tanya Idach, another brisa. Tanya Idach. Moshe tikin lehem liYisrael sheish esrei mishmaros. Moshe did not make 8. Moshe made 16. Guys, this is going to be a kasha on Rav Chama bar Guria. Rav Chama bar Guria, guys, is an Amoira. He said Moshe made how many? 8. What does the brisa say? 16. That's a shver. Says, look Let's fear rice, but that you got the kasha. Shay says to Mishmar, Shmoina me Elazo, Shmoina me Summer. Usharabu b'nei Elazo b'nei Summer. And when there was more children born to b'nei Elazo b'nei Summer, again, so there's more kahanim. Therefore, it was necessary to add more mishmarim to Elazar than his summer. So cholkum v'himidum al esrim arba divided, and they went to about 24. So initially 8 and 8, and then they added another 16. Shenemar vayimtzou b'nei Elazar rabim l'rashi hagiborim min b'nei Summer. There were many more. Vayichalkum l'bnei Elazar roisham l'beis avos shisha asa l'bnei Summer l'beis avos mishmoina 16 and 8. Okay, we didn't get to the kasha yet. You have the kasha already. For Omer, in another pasuk, it says Beis Av Echad Achuz LeElazar. One Beis Av was increased one to Elazar. So, guys, what's the initial unit was what? 8. An additional unit of 8 was given to Elazar because he was more. So now he's 16. For Achuz Summer, and his summer remained Achuz on the original unit, remained on the original 8. Okay, so Maiva Omer. Why do you need a second pasuk? V'chitema, if you're going to say Ki Heicha the Nafish Bnei Elazar Hachanami the Nafisha Bnei Samar, right? And meaning what? Shmaina Meikara Arba Have. So maybe initially what there was 4, and they increased to 8. Tashma. That's what you might. In other words, you know that Elazar was increased more, but you don't know about how much. Tashma base of Echad Achuz Elazar means there was 8, not 4, but there was 8. The Achuz Li Summer, which is a total of 8, he remained as 8, and we increased an additional one of Elazar to be another unit. So the unit was 8, not 4 to 8, but it was 8. Fred the Gemara to Yufta the Rav Chama Bigor Yoria, because Rav Chama said 8, Moshe said 16. So I'm like Rav Chama Bar Guria Tanoihi. I know the army ki hai Tana. Guys, we have a Tana. We asked initially, right? 8, 8, and 8. Then we brought another Tana, 8 and 16. And then we answered up to 16 was really 8 and 8. But how much was Moshe Metakin? 8. So says Rav Chama Ruguya, as long as I have a Tana that I can go according to, I can go ahead and side with that Tana. I hold 8. There's a Tana says 16. I side with the Tana that said 8. Again, we have 3 statements of Tanoim. We have 8, 8, and 8. That's Rav Chama. That's not a Tana. Then we have a Tana saying 8 and 16. So we asked, is it 8 or 16? And 8, is it 8, 8, 16? We answered that the 16 really is 8 and 8. But again, the key is the Tana holds Moshe made 8. Now you have a Tana said Moshe made 16. Yes? Kasha and Rav Chama. No, Rav Chama goes back. I hold like that, the original Tana that said 8, 8, and 8. I'm good. 8 and 16. I'm like Rav Chana, Barguria Tanoi, I know the army ki hai Tana. I hold the Omer Shmor, says Shmor. Tanaban. Arba Mishmores Oilam in Agoyla. Now, we went, one of the saddest things is that we would think when finally Koresh gave us the right to go ahead and rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. You might remember at the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, we discussed Koresh giving it then, and then we rescinded, right? And then we had a Tachshat, I can't say that quickly. The Tachshat, the Yavish gave us, right? We went through the Sugya. About 43,000 or 42 something people went back. Most of Klal Yisrael remained in bubble. Most of Klal Yisrael remained in bubble. 70 years in Golos, most of them remained there. Very sad. We did 24 Mishmarim of Kahanim, right? 24. We know that for sure. 24 Mishmarim. We even had the list in one of them, except the Sukkah. We had the list. Remember, guys? You might remember with the Kavanis they went, right? We had a nice chart. Okay. Only 4 came back. Only 4 out of 24 came back.
For the Kohen.
Kahanim, yeah. Only 4 Mishmarim. Only 4 Mishmarim came back. So what they had to do then is they had to go ahead and make it, take those 4 and spread them out. So each 4 became 6. 6 times 4 is 24, right? So you know, as you add it on to each one of the 4s, you add it on 5 more. You add it on 5 more. So that's what happened. So now we're discussing that. Tan Rabban. Alma Mishmaris Olam min Agoyla. 24, only 4 of Mishmaris came back from Bavel. Ve'eluhain, who are they? Yidayaya, Charim, Pashchur, Ve'imer. Amdu Nevi'im she'benehem, the Nevi'im that were there among them, Chages Chaim Malache. What did they do? The Cholkom ve'midim al esrim v'arba. They took those 4, divided them up to make a total of 24. What did they do? Bolim v'noslim b'kalpi. They put their names down and put them in what? in a hat. We want to know which order. Boy, Yedaya v'natal chelkoi. Yedaya came. He took his chelek, the chelek chaveirav, and the chelek of his chaveirav sheish. And there was an additional 5. Bocharim v'natal chelkoi, the chelek chaveirav sheish. V'chein pashcha v'chein imer. V'chein hisnu now. V'chein hisnu levim mishraim. Let's shafilu Yehoyarav. Guys, Yehoyarav is Rosh Mishmaris. The first one in the order is in the Yom is Yehoyarav. And even if he would come back, Oila lo yitcha Yedaya mimkomo. Yedaya, he gained first place and he won't lose it. Eli Yedaya ikar v'Yehoyarav tafaloi, he would be second. So in other words, if they would ever show up, Yedaya in the reward for coming up, right? For coming up, he would receive first place. Now, it's additional to know that that the Levium lost their right to Ma'aser Rishon. The Levium did not come up. Levium didn't come up, so Rabbi Yochanan Kohen Gadol, I think Rabbi Yochanan, he took it away from them. He took it. I know Yochanan Kohen Gadol. I think Rabbi Yochanan. He took it away from them, and he gave it to the Kahanim. So the Ma'aser Rishon went to the Kahanim. Didn't go to Levium. They lost it as a result. Okay. Anyway, this is the background over there. Okay, we said Keneged the 24 of the Kahanim. There were 24 mishmarim of Yisraelim. What did the Yisraelim do? They were again present at the time of the Karban tzibur being bought as the representative of the tzibur, because how could a Karban be bought without its Baal next to him? In addition, right, the ones of the mishmar who were not present in the Beis Hamikdash would enter their cities and they would fast. And they would read from Bereshis. On day 1, they'd read from Bereshis to Yirakia. Day 2, Yirakia to Yikavu Hamayim, and we'll go through it again. We'll go through the sugya today. Yisrael Shabbos Mishmar Achnisim Ha'areim v'Korim v'Ma'aser Bereshis. Minani Mili, Amar Rav Yaakov Barach, Amar Rav Asi. How do you know they were Mamadas? How do you know? In other words, this did Mamadas. How do you know they're Mamadas? So what do we know about the Bris Bein Abasarim, guys? In Bereshis, in Perik Tesvav, in Lech Lecha, right? Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Avram Avinu tells Hakadosh Baruch Hu, "Matitein li v'nochi holech hariri," right? You don't give me any children. He promises him children, and then he asks, like, he goes, "You get Eretz Yisrael," and he asks, "B'ma eida kirashena?" How do I know when I'll inherit it? And Hakadosh Baruch Hu says, "Take Egel Meshulish by Ayel Meshulish. Take 3 of these, cut them up." And the smoke passed through. That's called the bris bein habasarim, the bris between the pieces. Right, that's it. And in the schus of karbonis, that's the Rashi brings down this Gemara. In the schus of the karbonis, right? In the schus of the karbonis, that's how you know you won't be destroyed. Avram Avinu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's very good when the Beis Hamikdash is standing. What happens? There's no Beis Hamikdash. What happens? There's no Beis Hamikdash. What are you going to do? So he goes. Then it's if you read it, it's kilu. So the Mamados are representative of the Karbanis, and therefore we know they're Mamados. That's how you know. Says the Gemara. Says Avram Avinu to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how do I know Ki Yerashena that I'll inherit Yisrael? Ama Avram Avon Shalom. Shema Yisrael, what does that mean? Shema Yisrael Chaytim Fanecha. Maybe Chai Yisrael will be Chaytim in front of you. Ata Oislehem and Kedar HaMabel. Then you make him a Kedar HaMabel, Kedar HaFlaga. So Amalei Lav Amal Fun of Rabbani Shalom Hodi Ene B'May Rashena. Amalei Kachli Egem Meshuleshes. Take three calves. The Eis Meshuleshes, 3 goats. Amal Fun of Rabbani Shalom. Teinach Bisman Shebeis Midrash Kayim. Bisman Shebeis Kayim B'Mati Alehem. Amalei Kfar Tikanti Lehem Seder Kabbanos. I already was mataki to say the kabbanis. Bisman Shekarim Behen Lefanai Mailani Alehem Kila Ikrivam Lefanai. If you read the parsha of kabbanis, right? I think the end of Menachos, guys. What is Gemara say? You read the parsha of Oyla, it's like you're being an Oyla. You read the parsha of Asham, very important that in those kabbanis, those fast when the guy says in brachas, and then next to Rabbi Ishmael should try somewhere. You have to skip. You should skip the Ezim V'Karim Shal Zvachim. You should try to get that. It's a big thing. Yeah, and skip to it. No, don't skip over it. You know.
They say that every day. I'm wondering, closing the wrong thing.
No, you're saying the right thing, guys. How could Avram Avinu worry that Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to destroy the world like he did by the Mabel? Didn't Kodesh Baruch Hu promise them they're not going to destroy him? Wasn't there a rainbow? So Samarzchias says the kasha. How can a Ram be worried? So he says that there's really machloikas, but he says that the rainbow says the Kadosh Baruch Hu won't destroy the world with a mabel. He could destroy it other ways. The water won't happen, but other ways it could happen. So again, you have what to worry about.
Climate change.
Global warming. You don't believe it. So why is the glaciers melting if we don't believe it? I don't believe it, but why? But there are certain things that save the polar bears.
We always think there are islands that over 1,000 years, islands created.
Temperature changes was cyclical.
You can believe in global warming, but not believe that it's from man-made. It's an ozone layer.
It doesn't come from cows.
Right?
Not when you
Without
barbecue.
going
but-
in.
The more separate cows, better. I'm okay with that.
Okay, anyway. Torah bottom. Anshe Mishma hayim espalun al korban achayim. The Anshe Mishma, those are the men of the Kahanim, they would daven that the korban of their brothers should be accepted. Baratzon. The Anshe Maimid, these are again the Israelim. Miskansim lebeis haknesses. They would go to shul. The Yoshvin dalet taniyos, and they would fast 4 taniyos. B'sheni b'Shabbos on Monday. B'shlishi on Tuesday, b'Revi on Wednesday, b'Chamishi and on Thursday. B'Sheni al Yardei Hayam, they would go ahead on the Sheni al Yardei Hayam for the people who are on the sea. That would make sense, guys. Because what was the second day? The second day Hashem separated the water. B'Shlishi al Holchei Midbaros. On the third day, for people who go in the Midbar, they fast. On the third day, it says Yikov Ramay al Malkam Echad b'Seira Hayabasha. You should see the dry land. So obviously, Midbar is the dry land. Revi on Wednesday, al askara. Askara is a disease that begins in the throat and works its way down. The Gemara in Bracha says it's the Misa Mishon. It's the most difficult of Misas. And Shaloi Lipal al Tinoikas. It should not fall on Tinoikas. Rashi brings this in the Torah, guys. Ma'oris is written Chasavav, so it can be written as Ma'ora. Ma'era is a curse. Right? It's a curse. So that's on Wednesday. The Chamishi al Ubarois Umenikos. Chamishi, you had life brought to the world. Yitzchu Amayim, Sheres Nefesh Chaya. So there was the Chamishi. You would daven for the Uber that the fetus should survive. Umenikos, a woman should be able to go ahead and nurse the children. Iborish la Yiplu, Iborish that they should not be miscarried. Menikos Shinakos Beneim. Erev Shabbos la Yimasana. Erev Shabbos they didn't fast. If they covered a Shabbos, Kavachayim b'Shabbos Atzmi didn't fast. Fred Gemara Bechem b'Shabbos my time aloi. How come they didn't fast on Sunday? Rabbi Yochanan if they had Nitzrim. Which is really interesting because the Nitzim came a lot later than. Okay, yeah. Okay, anyway, Sunday. What's Penny Miller's having trouble?
Saying the same thing.
Here's my guy, Toby Gelbstein. Huh?
The guys in Philly stole his internet access.
What?
The guys in Philly stole his internet access.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so on one reason is because of the night swim. They don't Sunday. Again, we don't want to give them any credibility, I guess. It's the third day of the Yetzirah. If Mem is created on Friday, so Friday, 1 day, Shabbos, 2 days, Sunday is Wednesday. So the third day of his creation, a person's weakest. We know from Shimon Velevi, correct? So therefore, we can't fast on Sunday. Because you lose your neshama to Seirah. A person was given a neshama Seirah of Shabbos, and we had this in Gemara in Beitza. Shavas vayinafash, the word vayinafash, kivin sheshavas, once a person rests, vay of the nefesh. He says, whoa, that I lost the nefesh. So therefore, as a result of losing your nefesh, you're in a weakened state, so you can't fast on Sunday. So you have 3 reasons: either because of a night swim, or because of the third day of Yitzirah, you're weak because of that. The Goyim. Yeah. Goyim. They that Sunday, they go to church on Sunday. That's Sunday, Or that, or they watch football, or both.
I know it's worse.
Huh?
I know it's worse. If you're a Jack fan, it's definitely worse.
We don't say the J word and share, please.
It's also we don't fast.
We don't. We say LS. Me and Yehuda Kleber. Long. We both have the first initial long.
JETS is a fuller word.
Right there. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm older than you. I suffered longer. Beyond Beyond Marishain Bereshis Vayihirakia. Okay, guys. So we know certain halachas, right? This is source for them. What happens if you have 5 psukim? Now you know you can't read less than 3 psukim per aliyah, per aliyah, right? You can't read less than 3. If you have 5, what do? On Rosh Chodesh, what do? We lay in the last one of the previous one and then 2 more. That's what we do. That's called doilig. That's called skipping. Literally not skipping, it means to go back. We're going to have machlokes, Rabbi and Shmuel. What do? So when a parsha has enough psukim, it's no problem. When it has too little, that's when the problem comes about. So going through the parsha of, on the first day they laid from Bereshis to Yehirakia. In the second day they laid from Yehirakia to Yikov Amayim. On the third day went from Yikov Amayim to Yehim Oiris. And the fourth day went from Yehim Oiris till Shirtzu Aretz. And the fifth day they went from Shirtzu Aretz to Taitzei Aretz, and the sixth day went from Taitzei to Vayechudu, right? So when you had enough psukim, it wasn't a problem. Why was the parsha was short? You had 5. So that's what the discussion is now. Says the Gemara. Tana Bereishis b'shana Yehirakia be'echad. The Bishleima Yehirakia be'echad. Bishleim Yehirakia be'echad is called still psukim have. Ela Bereishis b'shnayim hey psukim have. How can you lane Bereishis with 2 aliyas guys? It's only 5 psukim. And Vitanya, we learned in a brisa, Hakoyre b'Torah, someone who learns in the Torah, Al Yivchos mi Gimel psukim should not be less than 3. So how can you have 2 people split up 5 psukim? And we're going to say 2.5, 2.5. So Rav Amar Doilig. Rav says what we do: repeat the last pasuk of the first 3, and then in the latter you'll have 3 pasukim. Ushmul Amar no pasuk. You divide the last pasuk. You divide. Rav Amar Doilig. My time Olay Amar pasuk. Kasava called psukud like paski Moshe and non like paskin like. If Moshe didn't go ahead and make that chilik, we're not going to make that chilik. Ushmul Amar pasuk. You do it. The question is why Shmuel doesn't disagree with this, right? Shmuel agrees that anything Moshe said you can't do. Umi paskina and Vamar of Chanina Kara. That's his name. Of Chanina Kara. Sar Gadol Hoylo Eitzel Rabbi Chanina Agadol. Hitali lifts like El Tinoika Shel Beis Rabin. He only permitted if he's Tinoika Beis Rabin. Hoylo Islam made a suyin. That was the children who are learning. If you learn psukim too much, it's too much to digest. So you could stop to split the pasuk. So therefore, but he didn't let me do it. What? It's not by laning. Shmuel, what's the reason why you're able to split by kitties? Of course, it's not possible. So Hachanami, where you have 3 psukim for one and 2 for the other, without splitting it, so you split it. In other words, stop to split, you can't, but there's a reason to split, as illustrated by the fact you split it for children, you could split it with what? When you have 5 aliyahs, 5 psukim for 2 aliyahs. Ushmuel Amar, Paisik, Shmuel says, no, right, my time alone with Doilig. What did he not like about Rav? What did he like about Rav, right? Listen to this. Let's say a person would come in, right? And he would hear the second aliyah. He thinks the Kayin only had 2, right? Because you're laying 3 psukim. He thinks that the first one only had 2. And the person who leaves, right? The person who leaves, he leaves after 3, he'll think the next guy, Levi, is only getting 2. So Gezerah that, Shmuel didn't like that, better go ahead and be mafsik the pasuk. What?
It's a deal. I mean, don't come late.
What are you, mashkir? Learn Pshat Gemara. We're learning Pshat Gemara. No, it means like this. It means hesh. If a shuld can come out, I can avoid a shuld coming out. But a shuld can come out. Something bad can happen. You can avoid it. Again, if they make a mistake, good. They're not guys. You're saying they're not nice guys coming late, coming early. Very good. Okay, not the choice. But the bottom line is something bad can happen. So to avoid something bad happening, we go ahead and we divide the pasuk. Meisivei pasha shel shisha psukim kairin asa b'shnayim. A pasha of 6 psukim you read with 6. V'shel chamisha b'yachid v'imarisha. Let's skip the b'yachid. V'shel chamisha harishin kari gimel hasheni kari shnayim. Like Rav. Mi parsha zu v'ech mi parsha acheres. Now so far now he's saying the v'yeshoimim gimel. So what? So here's one more time. What are you doing over here? You're saying you have 5, so you don't go back. You lane 3, and then the second one lanes 2, and from +1 from the next parsha. So this is neither like Rav or Shmuel, guys. It's not like Shmuel you're being mapsik, and it's not like Rav because you're not going back. You're extending it one more. You're laning 3, 2 + 1, 5 plus 1. You're laning 1 in the next parsha. The Yishem and Gimel, others say you lane 3 from the next parsha, a total of 5 psukim, 2 plus 3. If you say maschil in parsha pachas mishleisha psukim. According to Rav, why don't you skip and go back? Why are you going ahead and landing ahead? So l'chayra, this is a brisa, and Rav and Shmuel are Gerdali Amarayim. And for the Gemara Shani Hasam, it's different over here. The Islay over there, the Islay Ravcha. Very good teretz, guys. Over there, when you have psukim, there's no limit to what you can do. So what do? You lane the 3, 2, add 1, or add 3. There's no limit. Over here, you have a genoi dika gavul. On the first day, you're laning what? Gracious to your cover mind. It's a set part. When you have a set part, you can't extend into the next parsha. You have to lane what you lane. So therefore, let's say in gracious the cover was only 5 psukim. You're going to have either according to Rav to skip or according to Shmuel to go be mafsik, because you don't have the ability to go into day number 3, right? So that's what he says. This lay Rav. Okay, let's do one more. Parsha Gedoy L'Korinasa B'Shnayim. The Parsha Gedoy L'Korinasa B'Shnayim B'Shachris U'V'Musaf U'Mincha Kori Al Pian. Now here's the word, guys. Shachris you definitely lane from a Torah. Mincha you definitely lane Al Peh. Musaf, where do you put the comma, guys? Do you read it like this? Do you read it Shachris U'Musaf Korin U'Mincha Al Pian, or Shachris? Stop. And Musaf or Mincha al PM. In other words, is Musaf going to the Shachris side that you're laying from the Torah, or it's going to the Mincha side that you're laying al Peh? Which way is it going? Which way is it going? That's what we want to know. So Parsha Gedol l'Karmin Asa b'Shnayim b'Shachris u'V'Musaf u'V'Mincha Karmin al PM. Iboy lahu hachi kamar b'Shachris u'V'Musaf Karmin Asa b'Sefer. By Shachris u'Musaf you're going to lay from the Sefer u'V'Mincha Karmin Asa al Peh, and Mincha you lay al Peh. Kikoyre es Shema, just like you laying Shema al Peh. Oidil mahachi ketani. The Shachris koyrin oisa b'sefer, comma, uva musaf uva mincha koyrin oisa al Peh. So where does musaf go? Koyrin al Shema. So which way does musaf go with Shachris and you lay from the sefer, or does musaf go with mincha and you lay al Peh? Toshma the Tanya the Shachris uva musaf. So it says it openly. The Brisa says it openly that Musaf goes with Shachris and you lane b'Seifa. Uva mincha yachid koyres al Peh, and by mincha a yachid lanes al Peh. Now he's got a slight problem because we guys. I'm sorry. We have a rule that devarim. What's the lashon? Devarim shebechsav iyat loyma al Peh. Devarim shebechsav you can't say al Peh. So how is one person able to be al Peh by mincha and be might see other people? How can he say al Peh and might see other people? That's our problem, right? So it says Rabbi Yossi, "V'chi yachid yachal likreis divrei Torah al Peh." Can a yachid right b'tzibur? Ella kula nichnasin. They all go in. The koyreis sa al Peh, and they all lane al Peh. Ki koyrin shema. So one individual doesn't do it, but what? But everyone does it. In other words, they read together. Because the issur of Dvarim Shebechsav al Peh is only when one is to be might see at Tzibur, but when each person is saying it, then you will be permitted to do it. Okay, we'll stop over here. All right. Zoom tomorrow morning. Yeah, it'll be.